Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Welcome to this morning's Srimad Bhagavatam class, which is from Canto 3, which is entitled The Status Quo, Chapter 2, Remembrance of Lord Kṛṣṇa. And this morning we're doing verse or text number 13. We're very fortunate to have Her Grace Anandarupa Mataji from ISKCON, DC to give a class. Hare Krishna, Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Please accept my most humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, Guru and Gauranga. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Okay.
Hare Krishna. So let's start with Jai Radha Madhav prayers. Jai Radha Madhava Kunj Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunj Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Brajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajana Ranjana. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunj Bihari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramhans Parivrajakacarya Ashtotar Shrimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramhans Parivrajakacarya Ashtotar Shrimad His Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki Jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Sham Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham ki Jai. Mayapur Dham ki Jai. जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय, गंगा माई की जय, जमुना माई की जय, भक्तिमयी तुलसी देवी की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय. All glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiriet. Shravam Swakatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridayantasto He Patrani Vidhunoti Surhatsatam Nashcha Prayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Ruttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtiki. So today we are reading from Canto 3, Chapter 2, verse number 13. And so in this chapter, Vidur has met Uddhav. We are reading about their conversation from past chapter. So as we go through this verse, I will like to present from the teachings of Srila Prabhupada, our Vaishnava Acharyas. And so let's go ahead, like we have this standard format. We recite the Sanskrit verse. I'll recite 3 times, and those of you feel comfortable, you may recite it too. And then we'll read from translation and purport. And then I have prepared some notes. This is a very beautiful verse, as we will see, like all other verses. So let's start with that. Yad dharma-sūnor bata rājasūye nirīkṣya dṛk-svastyayanaṁ tri-lokaḥ kārtsnyena cādyeha gataṁ vidhātur arvāk-sṛtau kauśalam iti amanyata yad dharma-sūnor bata rājasūye nirīkṣya dṛk-svastyayanaṁ tri-lokaḥ kārtsnyena cādyeha gataṁ vidhātur arvāk-sṛtau kauśalam iti amanyata yad dharma-sūnor bata rājasūye nirīkṣya dṛk-svastyayanaṁ tri-lokaḥ kārtsnyena cādyeha gataṁ vidhātur kārtsnyena cādyeha gataṁ vidhātur arvāk-sṛtau kauśalam iti amanyata kauśalam iti amanyata. Hare Krishna. This verse has big words, so Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Dharma-sūnor bata rājasūye nirīkṣya dṛk-svastyayanaṁ tri-lokaḥ kārtsnyena cādyeha gataṁ vidhātur arvāk-sṛtau kauśalam iti amanyata. Hare Krishna.
Yad dharma-sūnor bata rājasūye nirīkṣya dṛk-svastyayanaṁ tri-lokaḥ kārtsnyena cādyeha gataṁ vidhātur arvāk-sṛtau kauśalam iti amanyat. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Haribol, let's do the synonyms. Word by word meaning. Yat, the form which, dharma-sūnor, of Mahārāja Yudhiṣṭhira, bata, certainly, rājasūye, in the arena of the rājasūya sacrifice, nirīkṣya, by observing, dṛk, sight, svastyayanaṁ, pleasing, tri-lokaḥ, the 3 worlds, kārtsnyena, in sum total, cha, thus, adya, today, iha within the universe, gataṁ surpassed, vidhātur of the creator Brahma, arvāk recent mankind, sṛtau in the material world, kauśalam dexterity, iti thus, amanyata contemplated. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. All the demigods from the upper, lower and middle universal planetary systems assembled at the altar of the rājasūya sacrifice performed by Mahārāja Yudhiṣṭhira. After seeing the beautiful bodily features of Lord Kṛṣṇa, they all contemplated that he was the ultimate dexterous creation of Brahmā, the creator of human beings. Purport. Jai Srila Prabhupada. There was nothing comparable to the bodily features of Lord Kṛṣṇa when he was present in this world. The most beautiful object in the material world may be compared to the blue lotus flower or the full moon in the sky. But even the lotus flower and the moon were defeated by the beauty of the bodily features of Lord Kṛṣṇa. And this was certified by the demigods, the most beautiful living creatures in the universe. The demigods thought that Lord Kṛṣṇa, like themselves, was also created by Lord Brahmā. But in fact, Brahmā was created by Lord Kṛṣṇa. It was not within the power of Brahmā to create the transcendental beauty of the Supreme Lord. No one is the creator of Kṛṣṇa. Rather, he is the creator of everyone. As he says in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, Aham sarvasya prabhavo mata sarvam pravartate. Iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvita. So, let's take blessings of the Vaishnavacharyas. Om ajnanitimirandasya jnananjana shalakaya chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Desha Tarine. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langhayate girim yat kripa tadham vande Shri Gurum Dina Taranam. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Vancha kalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Guru Vrinda ki jai. Thank you, dear devotees, for assembling this morning for this Srimad Bhagavatam talk, and thank you for this opportunity. So, this verse talks about so many things. We will, of course, discuss about the most beautiful thing, which is beauty of Krishna. And we learn from Shastras that what does Krishna mean actually? Let me ask you all. Anybody, raise hand or just speak up. What is the meaning of Krishna? Yes, Dhir Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji. All attractive.
Krishna means all attractive. So Krishna attracts us all. And, over a period of time, as we develop that attraction for Krishna, we prepare our hearts to welcome him. We learn to see him. There is so much talk about seeing Krishna face to face. We learn better about that. And then further, as we spiritually evolve, we share his beauty with others, right? When we see something beautiful, do we stop at just the beauty? Or do we recognize the source of all this beauty, be appreciative of that? And what is the next thing we want to do? We want to share it with others, right? That's how devotees are. All right. So, Hare Krishna, let's go to this verse now.
Do you need me to do anything, Mataji?
No, Prabhuji, you can remove
Okay.
the verse, which you have done already.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to the verse. So the translation says, so as for the context and recap for everyone, in this chapter, we are continuing in the next verse. Conversation between Vidur and Uddhav is going on. Vidur presented a lot of questions. He presented his inquiries, and in that process, we learned how in our spiritual lives, what should be our mood when we do Shravan and Kirtan, when we are in Sadhu Sangha, when we are making mindful, thoughtful offerings and prayers to the Supreme Lord. So in this whole process of engaging in devotional service, inquiries is also a very important part. And then initially Uddhav is quiet, but then he starts. He's so overwhelmed in ecstasy, in remembrance of Krishna, feeling the separation because Krishna has left. So then he starts responding to Vidur. So all these verses are going on in this chapter. And then, so for those who are trying to recollect what's really happening in Srimad Bhagavatam, so the sages at Namsharanya had asked the questions. Parikshit Maharaj has presented the question to Shukdev Goswami. What is one supposed to do? What is one supposed to think or engage in the last few days of his life? Well, he says he had 7 days to live. And then the Bhagavad Gita goes on. And so we are fortunate living entities in Kali age times. We have the great fortune to have this Shravan and Kirtan going on. And so now all the demigods from upper, lower, and middle universal planetary systems assembled at the altar of rājasūya, sacrifice performed by Mahārāja Yudhiṣṭhira. So this was the setting where demigods have appeared, and they have the great fortune of having darshan of the beautiful features of Lord Kṛṣṇa. And they all contemplated, thought that he was ultimate dexterous creation of Brahmā. What is dexterous? I looked up. I knew meaning of dexterous, but I just looked up for the purpose of this talk. So something done expertly using hands. And most of us have background. Some may remember it, but so Brahmaji, he is involved in secondary creation. And so primary creation is done by who? Who remembers? Anyone comment on this? If Brahmaji is involved in secondary creation, who did the primary creation?
Garbhodaksha Vishnu.
Yes. So from Krishna are the 3 expansions. And so Garbhodaksha Vishnu is one of them. And then from the navel comes the lotus, stem of the lotus, and Brahmaji appears on it. And he does tapa, austerity. He is inspired by the Supreme Lord how to do the secondary creation. So here Srila Prabhupada says, there was nothing comparable. So there are few things going on in this verse. At a high level, I want to share with you all that we'll talk about beauty of Krishna. Krishna is all attractive. He attracts everyone by his beauty. He is the reservoir of all beauties. So that part we are going to, obviously discuss. And then we will also discuss about demigods. Okay. So then demigods, and then we are going to talk about little bit, we are going to touch on how devotees apply this information we are reading in this verse, how they can relate it to how we participate in different services, how we, what we should know about demigods, even though they said like that, but what is the actual?
Mataji, you are on mute.
Hare Krishna, this is not, I'm not muted. I don't believe I'm muted. Hare Krishna. All right, so first of all, I offer my respectful obeisances again to my spiritual master, to all the Vaishnavas, and to especially Srila Prabhupada, by whose mercy we have access to this unlimited ocean, this nectar of Srimad Bhagavatam. So now let's talk about the incomparable beauty of Sri Krishna. So Srimad Bhagavatam is not simply teaching us that Krishna is beautiful. It is teaching us something much deeper. Have you ever wondered why everything beautiful in the world attracts? It's very attractive to us. We see something beautiful. When we go even to the temple, when we see the beautiful darshan of the Lord, it's so attractive. It just touches our hearts. Many start immediately. They don't want to, but they can't control the tears, and many spontaneously feel like offering prayers. So every beauty we encounter is actually a reminder of original source of all beauty, Supreme Lord. So now Krishna has departed from this world, right? And I mentioned earlier, sages at Namsharanya asked Shuta Goswami, what is the ultimate shelter for humanity in this age of Kali? And the answer is hearing and remembering Krishna. And then we meet Mahārāja Parikshit. He has been cursed to leave his body, right? And a person in such a situation could ask about what? Medicine, politics, wealth, family? Well, one who is not that spiritually inclined, he may do all those things. But what does Parikshit Maharaj say? Like earlier I mentioned, what should a person hear, chant, remember at the time of death? And Shukdev Goswami gives him the ultimate answer. Glories of Supreme Lord. So when we are talking about beauty of Krishna, how he attracts us, how we can go through transformation in our hearts, in our senses, in our mind, and remember him, and then help others also feel attracted and remember the Lord, that is where really the purpose of the life is. So in this third canto, like I mentioned, Vidur asks enquiries, he presented enquiries, but he has returned from pilgrimage. And where is he meeting Uddhav? Anybody remembers where he meets Uddhav? Hare Krishna. So I will keep asking these small questions so everybody also remembers exactly where all the things are going on, all these conversations. It will be helpful. So for our info right now, Uddhav and Vidur have met near Hastinapur. And so Vidur is not interested in hearing about kingdoms or worldly affairs. He wants to hear one thing. Please tell me about Krishna. What is this symptom of? If someone wants to know about Krishna, someone wants to glorify Krishna, what is this symptom of? Well, Shastra says this is a symptom of change of heart, purification of heart, purified heart. Because when love awakens, the greatest happiness becomes hearing about beloved Lord. So, normally, when people remember there's someone they love or someone they care for, sometimes it is after that person has left, and that creates a feeling of sadness. But for spiritualists, remembrance of Krishna is an ocean of nectar mixed with separation. This is what Shastras are teaching us. So then every memory becomes precious. And now here, Uddhav is remembering Krishna. He is remembering Krishna's kindness. What else is he remembering? His friendship, his words, his smile. And then he remembers beauty of Krishna. His remembrance turns towards this extraordinary quality, beauty of Krishna. So when demigods from all planetary systems, they assembled at Mahārāja Yudhiṣṭhira's rājasūya sacrifice, he's sharing, Uddhav is sharing with Vidur, and seeing Krishna's beautiful bodily features, they're thinking, surely this must be the greatest creation of Brahma. And so, let us think about this. Rājasūya sacrifice was not an ordinary gathering. Greatest personalities from the universe had assembled. And the demigods had seen unimaginable beauty. They have seen heavenly planets. They have seen artistic creations of Brahma. And they themselves are celestial beings. They have seen celestial beings. Yet, when Krishna entered, they are all captivated. So what was their conclusion? This must be ultimate creation of Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada says this was understandable because Krishna's beauty has had no comparison. So Prabhupada says there was nothing comparable to bodily features of Lord Kṛṣṇa. So now let us take a quick look. When we describe beauty, from childhood, we have many opportunities. We describe anything beautiful and we do some comparison. We say, eyes are like lotus petals, face is like full moon, complexion is like fresh rain cloud. But in case of Krishna, everything is different. This comparison changes. How it is described in Shastras? The lotus is beautiful because it reminds us of Krishna's eyes. The moon is beautiful because it reminds of Krishna's face. The clouds are beautiful because they remind us of Krishna's complexion. So the objects we use to describe Krishna's beauty are themselves borrowing beauty from him. Even Brahma Samhita, it has so many references on Krishna's beauty. Daily when the Darshanarti starts in the morning, the Brahma Samhita prayers, few verses, we sing them. Venum kanvantam aravinda dalaya taksham varhavatam samasitam buddha sundarangam govindam adi purusham tamaham bhajami. I worship Govinda, it says, whose eyes are like lotus petals, whose head is decorated with peacock feather, and whose complexion is like fresh rain cloud. And then in Srimad Bhagavatam, it is very nicely explained. Brahmaji is the one who created this universe as a part of secondary creation. Yet when he describes Krishna, he does not say Krishna is my creation. What does he say? Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. I worship Govinda. So now we should not be confused reading this verse that who created whom. And this is where Srila Prabhupada's purport helps us. So demigods thought Krishna must be created by Brahma, but actually Brahma is created by Krishna. So demigods, they saw the beauty, but they had not understood the source of beauty. So little information I want to share with you regarding demigods. So our scriptures describe demigods are extraordinarily powerful celestial beings. And what is their job? They are entrusted with administrative duties in this material universe. There are many universes. And so they have administrative duties like managing sun, rain, elements, obstacles, prosperity, quick solutions people need. They pray to demigods. So now, while they possess great beauty and opulence, their splendor and power are permanent or temporary? Hare Krishna, anyone? Powers of demigods are permanent or temporary? What does Bhagavad Gita say? Haribol?
Mataji, are they temporary?
temporary. That is why we approach directly Supreme Lord. We don't try to ask in our prayers. We don't try to, do such prayerful transactions with demigods. So now, compared to humans, their beauty, lifespan, and strength are immense, but their forms are still material and their powers are temporary. So now, the beauty and the opulence of demigods are merely faint reflections of Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. This is repeatedly explained. Krishna is described as reservoir of all beauty and attractiveness. So now, at first glance, it may seem like a small mistake on the part of demigods, right? We are reading in the translation what's mentioned. They thought, surely this is most beautiful personality, must be the finest creation of Lord Brahma. But Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport, he corrects this understanding. Because if we misunderstand who Krishna is, we may admire his beauty, but fail to recognize his supreme position. Now, demigods, why did they think this? So their reasoning was understandable. Now, in this universe, Brahma is known as engineer of creation. So demigods have seen his wonderful creativity. Even we are familiar with the mountains, rivers, planets, trees, animals. If many of you have gone through 5th canto, description of Jambudweep and description of different dweepas in addition to Jambudweep, so many mountains, gigantic, magnificent mountains and the rivers and the inhabitants and the planetary systems and their orbit and movement of sun and how sun's chariot, its wheels, how it rests. All that. So all that is Brahma's secondary creation. So when demigods saw someone whose beauty surpassed everything they had ever seen, they naturally concluded this must be Brahma's greatest masterpiece. So their appreciation is really wonderful, but their conclusion is incomplete. So Srimad Bhagavatam helps us understand. It gently lifts our vision beyond Brahma. Srila Prabhupada's purports helps us with that. In Srimad Bhagavatam, the very first verse, Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 1, first verse, it says, Janmadiyasya yatha. The absolute truth is he from whom everything emanates. So Srimad Bhagavatam begins by establishing one foundational truth. What is that? Everything originates from Supreme Lord. And that includes this universe, Brahma, and every living being. And so if everything comes from him, then Brahma must also come from him, right? And earlier, Dhir Krishna Prabhu mentioned Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. So for those of you who need a quick recap, so the previous acharyas explained that Sri Krishna, the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, expands himself for the work of creation. So we have Karnodakshaya Vishnu, who is also known as Mahavishnu. So first Krishna expands as Mahavishnu, Karnodakshaya Vishnu. Simply by his breathing, innumerable universes emanate from him and later return to him. We must have seen that Krishna art, right? Karnodakshaya Vishnu and all the universes. So now this is described in Brahma Samhita. And the creation sequence is further explained in 2nd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So the scriptures describe that countless universes come with his exhalation and they are withdrawn with his inhalation. So now then Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. Then the Lord enters each universe as Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. So from the lotus growing from his navel appears Lord Brahma. Again, Srimad Bhagavatam mentions where Brahma awakens on the lotus and looks in all directions, wondering, who am I? Where have I come from? He searches down the stem but cannot find the source, and only after performing tapa, Lord reveals himself to him. And that pastime is so meaningful. This first created being, Brahma, could not discover his own origin through just intelligence. What did he need? He needed Lord's mercy. So the one whom the demigods thought had created Kṛṣṇa was himself searching for source of his own existence. Right? This helps us understand who created who. Then let's talk about Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. Lord further expands as Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, and so he is the super soul residing within the heart of every living being, within every atom. And so, in Bhagavad Gita, there is a beautiful reference. Krishna says, Krishna is giving wisdom to Arjun, and in chapter 18, it's mentioned, Ishvara sarva bhutanam hridadeshe arjuna tishtati. The Supreme Lord resides in the hearts of all living beings. So the same Lord who is the source of creation is also so compassionate that he accompanies each of us as super soul. So now what is Brahma's role? If Krishna creates everything, what does Brahma do? So let us recollect example. Srila Prabhupada explains, suppose an architect designs an entire city, then he appoints engineers to construct individual buildings. And the engineers are continually building, but they are working with the help with architects' design, resources, authority. So Brahma is called the secondary creator. He does not create living entities or the original ingredients of creation. He receives the universe from the Lord and then arranges the various species, planetary systems, and bodies according to Lord's plan. So now let us look at the sweetness of this verse we are discussing today. Demigods, they looked at Kṛṣṇa and thought, what a magnificent creation of Brahma. But the reality is exactly opposite. The person standing before them was the very source from whom Brahma had received his own life. What else? Intelligence. What else? Creative power and existence. That is why, there is another beautiful verse, the first verse of Chatushloki Gita, chapter 10. What is that verse? Anybody remembers? Anybody remembers that? The verse is, Aham sarvasya prabhavo mata sarvam pravartate. Krishna says, I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. So sometimes, we admire an exquisite painting and we immediately ask, who is the artist? We understand beauty of the artwork points us towards the greatness of its creator. And in this verse, demigods are admiring the most beautiful person they had ever seen. They assume there must be a one greater creator behind him. So the creator behind beauty, this beauty we are reading about, is Krishna himself. Brahma did not create Lord Shyam Sundar. Shyam Sundar lovingly created Brahma. So now Krishna is known as reservoir of all beauties. And Srimad Bhagavatam and scriptures, they reveal the unsurpassed beauty of Krishna, his form, character, name, form, activities, pastimes, nama, rupa, guna, lila. So the enchanting beauty of Krishna's form, character is the source of relish and actually shelter for everyone. We read that Krishna is always joyful, and so is the living entity, a part of him. And each of us is naturally characterized by our pleasure-seeking propensity. What is it known as? Anandamaya abhyasa. And in their attempts to pursue pleasure in this world, Most people try to bring their senses in contact with enjoyable sense objects. And that is why there is so much talk we read in purports around sense gratification. So thus, naturally, our eyes look for beautiful things, and people, and our nose searches for sweet smells. What do our ears do? They chase enchanting music. And our tongue, it yearns to taste delicious foods. So of these, the urge of the eyes is to see beauty, and it is very powerful. So there are two kinds of beauties our scriptures talk about. In this world, we see beauty in the nature, we see beauty in objects and in people. However, nature has its ugly side. What is that? Objects become less attractive with repeated viewing, and people lose their physical beauty with age. And so, all beauty in the material world is temporary. So, is there a permanent beauty by which one can never become, bored of it, or they feel satiated? Yes. So, Srimad Bhagavatam informs us. We read in Brahma Samhita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. They tell us of eternal spiritual world where the people and objects are eternally fresh and beautiful. And Prabhupada, he says this law of satiation acts materially, but there is no scope for it in the spiritual realm. So he says further, never will the passage of time deteriorate the beauty of spiritual realm, because time has no influence there. So now Krishna's beauty, it's explained as nityam nirīkṣya. In Canto 1, the inhabitants of Dwarka were regularly accustomed to look upon reservoir of all beauty, the infallible Lord, yet they were never satisfied. And Srila Prabhupada says the most beautiful object in the material world may be compared to what? What is given in this purport? Blue lotus flower or the full moon in the sky. And it says, but even the lotus flower and the moon were defeated by the beauty of bodily features of Lord Kṛṣṇa. So let us understand better how beauty can entangle us, or how can beauty elevate us. Things that appear beautiful in this world are not necessarily beneficial for us. To believe that temporary thing can give us permanent happiness, is that a good approach or a good mindset for our well-being? No. So therefore, we repeatedly hear and read that attachment to temporary beauty in this world is entangling. How? Why? Because it binds one to the cycle of repeated birth and death. As I was meditating on this verse, how to talk about the messages, the teachings, I was thinking there used to be an idiom from childhood I remember having referred to. It is appearances are deceptive, and many more around beauty, such phrases and idioms we have heard. Because, what we see externally and temporarily is not necessarily what is the truth or true or, to go by. So the beauty of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, however, is eternal. Nectar of Devotion also talks about it. And as are his other main opulences. What are they? What are the opulences of Krishna? Anybody? Can you mention? Parashar Muni, he talks about that. So I gave you a hint. Anyone remembers that? Hare Krishna. So that is strength, fame, wealth, knowledge, and renunciation. So all living entities in their pure state, they are attracted to eternally beautiful person. Who is that? Who is that eternally beautiful person? Just speak up. Don't have to raise hands.
Krishna.
Krishna, very good. So in our impure state, that attraction is diverted to material beauty, which is a reflection of spiritual beauty. So temporarily, material beauty satisfies us initially, entangles us, whereas permanent spiritual beauty, what does it do? It elevates us and never dissatisfies us. So bhakti yoga or devotional service consists of worshipping the transcendently beautiful Krishna and elevating oneself from material realm to Srila Prabhupada said, platform of pure devotional service, isn't it? Those are his words. So we should understand. We should actually feel grateful that we have this opportunity to learn more about Krishna, glorify Krishna, who is the embodiment of beauty. The word Krishna means the all-attractive one. He is the origin of everything and is the source of all beauty in both material and spiritual worlds. And I refer to that first verse from Chatushloki, Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, verse number 8. But the ultimate origin of all beauty, Krishna, who is supremely beautiful, so all the beauties we may experience in entire cosmos put together are manifest in him. So we hear of these beautiful verses, Sarva Saundarya Sangraham. It's from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, chapter 24, that Krishna is the collection of all beauties. Collection, Sangrah. His unparalleled spiritual beauty is repeatedly and elaborately described in Vaishnava scriptures. And his beauty enchants men, women, animals, demigods. We are seeing in this verse, demigods are so enchanted. His incarnations and everyone else, including himself. So Srila Prabhupada writes in so many purports, all those who are artists overtaken by beautiful creation should better see to the beautiful face of the Lord for complete satisfaction. Why? The face of the Lord is embodiment of beauty. And what they call beautiful nature is but his smile. And what they call sweet songs of the birds are but specimens of whispering voice of the Lord. And in Krishna book, Srila Prabhupada says, without being an expansion of Krishna, nothing can be attractive. Whatever is attractive within the cosmic manifestation is due to Krishna. And Krishna, therefore, is the reservoir of all pleasure. What does Lord Shiva say? Canto 4, mainly it's about the pastime of Shiva and Daksha. And then there are much more wonderful pastimes. But Lord Shiva, who is meditating on Krishna, transcendental form of Krishna, whose sight satisfies all senses, he prays, Darshanam no didrikshunaam. My dear Lord, I wish to see you exactly in the form your very dear devotees worship you. You have many other forms, but I wish to see your form that is especially liked by the devotees. So please be merciful upon me and show me that form. For only that form worshipped by devotees can perfectly satisfy demands of all senses. And then, how can I miss out the beautiful prayers of Queen Kunti? Anyone remembers? What does Queen Kunti say about beauty of Krishna? So, she compares Krishna's limbs to beautiful lotuses. She says, Nama Pankaj Nabhaya, Nama Pankaj Maline, Nama Pankaj Netraya, Namaste Pankajangrahe. My respectful obeisances are unto you, O Lord, whose abdomen is marked with a depression like a lotus flower. You are always decorated with garland of lotus flowers, whose glance is as cool as lotus and whose feet are engraved with lotuses. So, This is the beauty. Many devotees, it's mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam in different pastimes, they praise Lord's beauty while offering prayers. And so Srila Prabhupada says that there are millions of forms of the Lord, but they are one absolute. And as I referred to Brahma Samhita earlier, it says Advaitam Achyutam Anadim Anantarupam. All the different forms of the Lord are one, but some devotees want to see him in the form of Radha and Krishna. Others prefer to see him as Sita and Ramchandra. Others would see him as Lakshmi Narayan, and others want to see him as how? Four-handed Narayan, Vasudeva. The Lord has innumerable forms, and he appears in particular form as preferred by a particular type of devotee. So we learn that when a devotee surrenders to Lord Kṛṣṇa and becomes a lover of the Lord by direct realization of Krishna's all-attractive nature, Lord makes his residence in the clean heart and mind of such a pure devotee. Canto 11 specifically mentioned this. So Prabhupada always, there are like so many references Prabhupada gives. He says, when one is attracted by transcendental beauty of Radha and Krishna, he is no longer attracted by material feminine beauty. That is the significance of Radha Krishna worship. And this is something we can look forward to in our spiritual practice, to gradually be, attracted and absorbed. It may begin with beauty, but there is a higher, deeper meaning to that. So all forms of incarnations of Krishna are beautiful, but Krishna in Vrindavan is the most enchanting of all Vishnu Tattva forms. And our Vaishnavacharya has explained that this is confirmed by great authorities like Brahmā, Shukdev Goswami, and many acharyas. Okay. Now we know that the attire and attitude of Krishna as cowherd boy in Vrindavan are characterized by what? Mostly simplicity and innocence. And we read in Krishna book, we read in, for those of us who have read in Krishna book, gopis describe Krishna as wearing a yellow garment as bright as gold, peacock feather on his head, flowers on his ears, and a garland made of different types of forest flowers, and a necklace of gunja berries. Now, what is the necklace of Krishna known as? Normally, those of you who know, does anybody know? Vajanti Mala. So, thus he appears like the greatest of dancers as he enters the forest of Vrindavan, he's beautifying it with the marks of his footprints. Now, talking about Krishna's footprints, when we are talking about beauty of Krishna, how can we leave out footprints, right? So that is explained. Krishna's footprints are everywhere in Vrindavan because he doesn't wear shoes there. So there is a very sweet pastime where once his mother Yashoda asked him to wear shoes to herd the cows, but he said he couldn't wear them as long as cows were walking barefoot. So no human being, animal or bird in Vrindavan disturbs Krishna's footprints, considering them its greatest ornament. And the last verse, for those of you who read the last verse, I'm trying to just go to the, it says, Krishna's opulence was so super excellent that his pastimes were adored even by Lord of Vaikuntha, who is not different from Lord Kṛṣṇa himself. But this verse also talked about his transcendental body is ornament of all ornaments. Look at that. So there are 6 aspects of Krishna's beauty, right? So as Krishna entered the city of Mathura when he was invited by Kans, around age of 10 years, 7 months, and women there described his beauty in 6 ways while praising the fortune of the gopis of Vrindavan, who regularly see the beauty of Krishna. And what is mentioned is, what were the 6 ways? They were, what austerities must gopis have performed with their eyes? They always drink the nectar of Lord Krishna's form, which is the essence of loveliness and is not to be equated or surpassed. That form is the only abode of beauty, fame, and opulence. So, and then within the verse, it's a big Sanskrit verse again, but the 6 aspects were given, that the essence of all loveliness, Krishna's moon-like face, is the drinking vessel for the eyes that hanker after the beautiful, all that is beautiful. And then unequaled or unsurpassed, that is how his beauty is. Even the Narayan expansions in Vaikuntha planets and other incarnations of Lord are not as beautiful as Krishna. And then it says it's self-perfect. Krishna does not require his beauty from another source. It is innate eternally in him. And 4th one is ever fresh. 5th one, which means when one drinks his beauty with one's eyes, it constantly appears new. 5th one is difficult to obtain. Krishna's beauty is accessible not by any substandard religious paths, but only by pure devotion. And then 6th one, the only abode of beauty, fame, and opulence. So these are the characteristics of beauty of Krishna. Just like we read about characteristics of pure devotional service, right? So beautifully in Shastras it's described. So now let's talk about beauty of Krishna's character. So Krishna's beauty, which is externally viewable, it comes to the vision of demigods, but let's also try to understand beauty of Krishna's character. So beautiful forms, they inspire attraction, but attachment and affection develop because of beautiful characteristics. So although physically attractive, if someone doesn't have good qualities, good attitude, people are not inclined to maintain a relationship with that person. But a relationship with someone beautiful in both form and character is most enlivening. So Krishna's form is exquisitely beautiful, and so is his divine character. Sheelam sarva janunana janam. Krishna's character is satisfying to all kinds of living entities. Prabhupada says in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela. So we understand studying Krishna's features from Srimad Bhagavatam inspires us in many ways, as spiritual seekers. And Krishna's character is filled with divine qualities. There are many divine qualities: compassion, truthfulness, tolerance, gentleness, humility. And Narad Muni, sage Narad, he describes beauty of Krishna. He has also then described, if I don't mention that would not be justice to today's talk. He says, Lord's form is always youthful. Every limb and every part of his body is properly formed, free from defect. His eyes and lips are pinkish like the rising sun. He is always prepared to give shelter to the surrendered soul. And anyone so fortunate as to look upon him feels all satisfaction. This is how beautiful Krishna is. And then last part says, the Lord is always worthy to be the master of the surrendered soul, for he is the ocean of mercy. So then we briefly touched on Krishna's glance and smile earlier. Krishna's beautiful eyes are always accompanied by his merciful glance and reassuring smiles, enlivening his devotees who seek his shelter. And Srila Prabhupada says, as long as one is in conditional life, in the material body, it is natural he will suffer from anxieties and agonies. And sometimes disturbances come, but the anxieties of the devotees are at once mitigated when they think of Supreme Personality of Godhead in his beautiful form or the smiling face of the Lord. And then Lord bestows innumerable favors upon his devotee, and the greatest manifestation of his grace is the smiling face, which is full of compassion for his pure devotees. This is a beautiful reference. You can check out Canto 3, chapter 28, verse 31. Now, Lord Kapil Dev also speaks about Krishna's smile. He says, a yogi should similarly meditate on most benevolent smile of Lord Sri Hari, a smile which for all those who bow down to him. This smile dries away the ocean of tears caused by intense grief. So now, what is another wonderful aspect of Krishna's character? We are talking about Krishna's beautiful character, right? He gives more credit to his devotees than he takes for himself. So that's why, what is he known as? Bhaktanam mana vardhana, one who increases the fame of his devotees. And prabhave sarva satvatam, one who expands the influence of devotees. So we all know Krishna defeated the demonic ruler Jarasandha and his millions of soldiers 17 times. However, Krishna gave credit. Who did he give credit to? About killing of Jarasandha? Who did he give credit to? Anyone knows? He gave credit to Bhim, one of his dear devotees. How did he do that? By allowing Bhim to kill Jarasandha rather than doing it himself. Now, Lord Ram, he made a bridge to reach Lanka, but his devotee Hanuman just jumped across the ocean. So, although Lord Ram, he was Supreme Personality of Godhead, he was very much aware of Sita Devi's whereabouts. He depended on Hanuman to find her. This is given in a beautiful section of Ramayana called Sundarkand. So, in this way, Hanuman's glories are declared to the whole world. And Supreme Lord is always eager to give more credit to his devotees than he takes for himself. So beauty of Krishna's transcendental form and character attracts the hearts of everyone. And by personal features, Srila Prabhupada says, by his personal features and transcendental attributes, Lord attracts all psychological activities of a pure devotee, and this is the attractive power of Lord Krishna. And this is given in Canto 1. So this whole topic of Krishna's beauty is so deep, so expansive, but in this short time, and it's almost time, so I will try to now wrap up the entire talk. I have much more to share, but I want to honor the time, everybody's time. So everything begins with Krishna, including his beauty, including Brahma, including ourselves. And so Krishna asks, Arjuna asks Krishna, right? In Bhagavad Gita, he says, how can I constantly remember you? And what does Krishna say? He gives him the science of seeing his presence everywhere. He says, Yad yad vibhuti mat sattvam, famous verse, text 41. It says, know all that glorious, beautiful, glorious, mighty creations arise from but a spark of my splendor. So this should help us transform our vision. We should not reject beauty in this world. We should learn to see beauty correctly. When we see a beautiful flower, we can think how wonderful is Krishna who has given such beauty. When we appreciate kindness in someone, we can think how wonderful is Krishna, the source of compassion. When we think on intelligence, we can similarly reflect how wonderful is Krishna, the source of all knowledge. So normally, in material consciousness, one may see beautiful things and forget Krishna, but a spiritualist, a devotee sees beauty and remembers Krishna. And in this way, everyone becomes attracted to Krishna. And there is a famous Atmaram verse in Srimad Bhagavatam. Many of you may know it. Atmaramascha muneyo nirgrantha api urukrame. Even liberated souls who are self-satisfied become attracted to devotional service of Krishna. While we are talking about attraction to Krishna, let's talk about attraction to devotional service to Krishna. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained this verse in many ways, that why are liberated souls attracted, and because we just discussed, Krishna possesses unlimited qualities, unlimited characteristics, and different hearts are attracted in different ways. And Mother Yashoda is attracted by his childhood sweetness. Cowherd boys are attracted by his friendship. How are gopis attracted? By his incomparable beauty and love. Cows, how are they attracted? By the flute music. The deers, the cows, remember in Krishna book, it's described how they stand motionless, listening to the flute music. And the sages are attracted by his transcendental qualities. So everyone finds their highest fulfillment in Krishna. And so when Krishna enters Vrindavan, it's described when he's playing flute and entering Vrindavan, something extraordinary happens. The trees offer fruits, the rivers become calm, the birds stop singing to hear his flute, cows stand motionless listening. Why? Because all creation is naturally attracted to its source, and entire universe is searching for Krishna. Even what to talk about Vrindavan, even the queens of Dwarka who saw Krishna every day, they never felt we have already seen him. So Krishna's beauty becomes newer and newer, and this quality is known as Nava Yaman, ever fresh. That is why devotees can chant holy name for years and they still feel, I have only begun tasting this nectar. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Dear devotees, this topic is so beautiful and I really honor everybody's time, but I really want to share what I have here with you all. So please kindly tolerate 5 to 10 more minutes, if that's okay. Parikshit Prabhu, is that okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Mataji. Go ahead.
So how do we cultivate attraction towards Krishna's beauty? So we begin with, of course, Shravan, Kirtan, Vishnu Smaran, right? Remembrance is very important. So when we come before the deities, let us not simply look, let us meditate. And scriptures guide us. Let us see his lotus feet. Let us see his smiling face. Let us see his flute, ornaments, his glance, beautiful, compassionate glance. And within our hearts, we can ask, my Lord, please allow me to see you, not with the ordinary eyes, but with eyes purified by devotion. And because ultimately, how does Krishna reveal his beauty within our hearts? Through his love. That's what Vaishnavacharyas have written such literatures about, their commentaries. And Brahma Samhita says, Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena. The devotees see Krishna through eyes anointed with the ointment of love. So today's verse started with demigods admiring Krishna's beauty, but Srila Prabhupada's purport helps us even understand it more deeply. The question is not who created this beautiful personality, but the answer is what we are hearing and reading about is, is the one who is standing before demigods, is the source of all creators. The lotus is beautiful because of Krishna. The moon is beautiful because of Krishna. Every attractive quality in this world is a small spark of his unlimited splendor. Now, where have we read this? Anyone remembers? Every attractive quality in this world is a small spark of his unlimited splendor. Where have we read it before? Have you heard of it before?
Bhagavad Gita.
Yes, Bhagavad Gita chapter 10. Therefore, perfection of seeing beauty is not stopping at the beauty. Perfection of seeing Krishna behind the beauty. So the perfection of devotion, because we are all, practicing spirituality. So we should think. Prabhupada constantly talks about perfection of life, perfection of devotion. So perfection of devotion is when our heart becomes so attracted to Shri Shri Radha Shyam Sundar, Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan, Shri Shri Radha Madhav, Shri Shri Radha Govind, Shri Shri Radha Gopinath, that remembrance of him becomes natural. So let us pray to Govinda. May our eyes become purified. May our hearts become softened. May we always remember that all attractive Lord, whose beauty enchants the entire creation. Okay? So attraction grows through loving association. When we come before deities, let us not rush. Right? Queen Kunti's prayers gave us the roadmap. Nama Pankaj. Remember the prayers? She went from feet to the Nama
Pankaj
Pankaj
Nabhaya.
Nabhaya, Nama Pankaj Maline, Nama Pankaj Netraya.
Netraya.
And then she comes to the feet. Namaste Pankaj Angrahe. So let our eyes rest on his lotus feet, then his yellow garments, his flute, his smiling face, his compassionate glance. She came to the feet later because she did not want to embarrass him, right? She was older than him in the past time. But so we can simply offer prayers. Oh Lord, please help me see you with the eyes of service, not merely with the eyes of habit. And so when we chant the holy names, we can remember that the name and the beautiful form of Krishna are non-different. The holy names, that is the promise. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in his Shikshashtakam, 8 verses, he glorifies the holy names. Cheto Darpan Marjanam, the holy name gradually cleanses the mirror of heart, and as the heart becomes purified, Lord reveals himself more and more. And this is why hearing, chanting, remembering, and serving are not separate practices, they nourish one another. So whenever hearts become connected with Krishna, everything connected with him becomes attractive, meaningful, full of beauty. And this is not just philosophy. We all experience this, that, by a moment of darshan, followed by eventually, gradually, service, kirtan, bhajan kriya, prasadam, sadhu sangha, how much joy it gives in this practice of spiritual life. And what to talk individually about all these Rath Yatras where Lord himself comes out to attract everyone. Or, Janmashtami is coming up. So we all are preparing to welcome the most beautiful guest, right? And then devotees, they do such wonderful preparation for decoration with the flowers, and accordingly their consciousness is aligned. Then there is deity worship preparation for that, where one can learn to see beauty with the eyes of love, right? There's so many examples. I talked about flowers, garland making, how simple flowers, they become spiritualized. And then Sunday feasts. There is beauty in the prasadam too. And, visitors may be coming to temple thinking food smells. They may experience the Sunday feast prasadam and they think food smells wonderful. But gradually they discover this is not ordinary food. Why? Because it has been offered with love. There are same ingredients, same kitchen, but different consciousness. And the beauty of prasadam is not taste. It carries devotion. Okay? So just like new visitors, we welcome them. And, over time, we realize devotees, they experience seeing Krishna in heart of every soul. So in this way, Krishna's beauty we can see every day actually as we hold these beads. And that is the beauty of the holy names. Person may not understand Sanskrit, he may not know philosophy, but when they hear Kirtan, they go through something in their heart. Why? Because Krishna is present in his name. The same attractive Lord who enchanted Vraja with his flute appears in Kali Yuga through his holy name. Okay. So, as a concluding remark, before bhakti, before we start practicing bhakti, we are attracted by many forms of beauty, like our achievements, recognition, possessions, relationships, comfortable things. But gradually, Krishna consciousness makes us understand what is real beauty. It teaches us to see beauty correctly. A beautiful relationship reminds us of Krishna's loving nature. Beautiful sunset reminds us of his creation. Beautiful person reminds of his qualities. In this way, the whole world becomes a reminder. So, beauty of Krishna consciousness is that every festival, every service, every interaction gives us an opportunity to practice seeing the source behind the beauty. So, as Krishna attracts us, and as we gradually prepare ourselves to welcome him over time, becoming more sincere in our sadhana, then we learn to see him, and then we learn to share his beauty with others. And this is how we go through the transformation in our hearts and in our consciousness. Thank you, dear devotees, for staying with me a little longer than we normally do. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय, श्रीला भगवतपाद की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय. Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Mataji, for a very nice and inspiring lecture about the beauty of Krishna. Not just Krishna's form only, but things about the properties of Krishna and how beautiful they are also. Dear devotees, this is the time. I know we've gone a little long, but Anandarupa explained why it was necessary to go deeper into the explanation. Thank you for a wonderful, wonderful lecture. Devotees, if you have questions or comments, please unmute yourself and share or ask your question. Any questions or comments? I have only one comment. I don't have a question. I was just kind of wide-eyed open. It says, the demigods thought that Brahma created Krishna. So I started chuckling to myself and I said, it's not like I know more than the demigods. It's Srila Prabhupada's mercy that's explain things to us. Otherwise, we could have even gone the same route because the demigods are more intelligent than we are. But here we are. So this is the mercy of a spiritual master, putting things in the proper perspective. Hare Krishna. Okay.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Any other comments? Okay. If not, then thank you, dear devotees, for coming on and also being patient to hear this wonderful, wonderful lecture about the beauty of Krishna and so many different aspects. So have a wonderful, wonderful Krishna conscious week, at the beginning of your week. Hopefully dedicate the whole week to Krishna so that Krishna can guide us in everything that we do rather than we make the final decision. Krishna make the final decision for us. Then our lives will be a lot better and more manageable. Jai. Panchakalpatarubhascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vaishnav Thakur ki jai. Hari Hari jai.
Parikshit Prabhu ki jai. ISKCON of Harris.
I'm only a servant for